talk about quite an interesting subject and also quite useful if you are planning to travel abroad, live abroad, study abroad, and in general, if you have any people you know who are going to try and do that. And dealing with culture shock will also help us to be able to move, to react and overcome that situation if it ever happens. Alright, so before we continue, there are a couple of things. Number one, those of you guys who are listening only today, if you do change your mind and want to join us, then please let me know, and you'll be able to jump into any of the exercises we are on. And also, Pim Pacha, please enable your microphone if you would like to participate today. And we will begin our class today, guys, with a quick round of introduction. So maybe just tell us your name, your nickname, share a little bit about your hobbies and what you do, and we will then continue. So once again, Yim Garund, Pim Pacha, please go ahead and enable your microphone if you would like to participate. And let's begin with Mr. Yuthapum. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, teachers. My name Yut Yuthapum Namwong. Call me Yut. I am 58 years old. I am retired now, and I live in Phayao, Thailand. My hobby is taking photos. Nice to meet you.
Alright, nice to meet you as well. Thank you. Alright. So we're not exactly sure why or where Pim Pacha is, so let me just notify our technical team really quickly. Alright, and let's now continue. In the meantime, hopefully the technical team will look into this problem and help us out. And let's take a look at our lesson objectives for today. So guys, by the time we are finished with our class today, we will be able to, number one, talk about dealing with culture shock and gain some useful information and knowledge for us to have, and just in case you decide to study abroad, or just in case any of your friends or family members want to ask you for advice or something. And in general, it's a really good way to understand what you can feel and what things you need to be aware of when you are traveling for various purposes. So we also will take a look at the difference between two sounds and learn how to pronounce them correctly. And guys, as always, we will learn some vocabulary related to today's subject and be aware of some grammar and pronunciation features on top of everything else. So guys, please keep this in mind as we go through our exercises. And also, those of you who are listening only today, guys, I highly encourage participation, as all the lesson objectives we have here, we can only guarantee the full extent and also guarantee that you will fully learn all these things only if you participate and practice with us. Alright, so keep this in mind, everyone, as we go through our exercises, and let's now continue. And let's take a look at our warm-up slide. So in this exercise, we are going to watch a video clip, and when we are finished, we will answer these two questions. So according to the video, what are some differences between American and Asian culture? And number two, do you agree with them? Why or why not? Okay, so I will share this video with you guys. It should work automatically without any problems. But just in case there are any technical issues, you may also check out the link on the slide. But everything should work just fine, so let's go ahead and check out the video.
So today we're going to talk about some of the differences that we see between Asian culture and American culture.
And we want you to tell us which culture you relate to more.
Let us know in the comments below.
Let's go!
Get down. Oh no! Are you okay? Number 1. American culture values punctuality, whereas Asian culture, time is more of a guideline. You know how Americans have that saying, if you're on time, you're late?
Oh yeah.
Well, if you're Asian, you go to an Asian event. Usually if you're late, you're actually on time.
True that.
Or you're a little bit early.
True that.
When you tell me an event is at 5, I will leave at 5:15, 30, yeah.
2. So the American culture values the individual, whereas the Asian community values the community. Asians can't eat by themselves.
That's true with Americans too.
Oh, I can eat whenever.
I noticed this especially with loitering. When I hang out with my Asian friends, we'll just like clump together and not leave until they force us out.
We're like magnets.
That's not a magnet. What is this?
It's like each additional magnet keep coming on.
Oh. Number 3. American culture believes in expressing emotion, whereas Asian culture is more about keeping it internalized. That's part of like the Asian thing too. It's like saving face. All the problems at home, you keep them at home. You don't let anybody know about them.
When I was younger, if I cried in public, I was...
Alright guys, so let's get back to our presentation, and based on this video, answer our questions here. So Youth, please answer these two questions for us.
Okay. According to the video, I think there are 3 differences between American culture and Asian culture. I think there are three different. Firstly, about the time, the Americans take the time seriously, always on time, but the Asian culture do not often on time. Yeah, it is the first meaning I see. And then the second is about the individual and community. The Americans attract importance to individualism. The Asian attract the importance of the communities. And the last one is expressing emotion and internalizing emotion. The Americans express frank thought, and the Asian don't speak their mind. I think there are 3 different between them, between both.
Okay, sounds good. And do you agree with them? Or why not?
No, I don't agree with them because nowadays the growing economy has made certain culture of the Asian people change rights. They have taken the time more seriously, and also comfortable also comfortably express the personal feeling. I mean, nowadays, the growing economy and growing IT, uh, Asian culture have changed uh, to be uh, on time, to be individual express, and now there the Asian people can express emotion. Uh, was their thought? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. Sounds good. And I do agree with you. I think that with the global development and basically internet being available to everyone,
Yes.
it's extremely easy and it's very easy and very simple
Yeah.
to learn about other cultures. And people are so educated nowadays that they basically don't, they don't even really have one culture now. Everybody has access to multiple cultures, and we are now, we can say, polycultural people. So we have more than
Yeah.
one incorporated. Yeah, I do
Yes.
agree with differences number 2 and 3 about the traditional American and Asian cultures,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't agree about the first one because they are comparing going to an event and going to like work and stuff. Depending on what kind of event you go to, you don't have to show up on time. But in American culture, it's very important to show up to work on time. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times, your jobs will require you to be a little bit earlier. And I'm certain that it's true in other cultures as well. So nobody's going to let you be late every day. You know?
Yeah. Uh,
All right.
I
All right. So sounds
yeah.
good. Thank you. Let's now continue. And let's take a look at our free talk slide for today. So in this exercise, we will pair up and talk to each other about how to deal with culture shock when studying abroad. All right. So, Yut,
Yeah.
have you been abroad before?
Yes, I have just traveling abroad last year. I traveling to Vietnam last year.
Okay.
Teacher.
Okay. And did you experience any culture shock in Vietnam?
Yes, I have the experience about the culture of Vietnam. Is it is different from my country, our country, about the culture, diverse culture of Vietnam is different from our country. Yeah, about food, about way of life, about language. Yeah, it's different from our countries.
Okay. And how did you deal with the culture shock?
Oh, I deal with a culture shock when I travel abroad. Uh, First of all, when we get there, I should try to connection with the local people. Uh, I should speak to the people of local, and then I will be able to make friends with them, with the local people, and then I improve my language to know about Vietnamese language, some a little language, but I can feel to more confidence when we are communicating together. And the next one, I make friends with them, and they take me to around the city to see about the traffic, jam traffic, and take me to the shopping in the center shopping center shopping on the Hanoi, so we can get along with local with them and make me more confident for living there, teacher.
Okay, I see. Sounds good. And I am planning to go and study abroad in the future, and I'm not exactly sure about the culture shock and how to deal with it, and what what I can do to overcome it. So maybe I will follow some of your recommendations and do my best to get involved with the local community
Mm-hmm.
and find some people to make friends with, and overall just make sure to keep myself busy and not feel the culture shock and feel depressed and so on.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah,
And yeah. Go ahead.
teacher, please give me some tips for your uh, uh, deal with culture shock. Have you ever have experience for culture shock, teacher?
Yeah, so I have had experiences traveling abroad to different countries,
And what do you
and
do? Mhm. What do you deal with
I think
culture
that
shock?
the culture shock depends on, well, first of all, what reason you're traveling for,
Mm-hmm.
and also how long you're going there for. So I've traveled kind of short term and also long term. So I've lived and
Mm-hmm.
studied abroad in the past, and I think that's when I was able to experience the culture shock a little bit, because I stayed there for, well, ended up staying there for multiple years. But at the first time I went out for a long time, for a whole year, I lived in a different country. It
Mm-hmm.
was first of all exciting for a few months, but about 2 or 3 months into it, I was I started feeling homesick, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to go back, and everything was a little bit annoying and so on. But overall, I think it was a rewarding experience in general. And I dealt by it by communicating with the locals and with people from my own culture as well, which I
Mm-hmm.
was able to find, and just getting involved with the community and just doing different cool things as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your advice.
Oh, yes, of course, guys, you are welcome. Not a problem. So let's now continue, and let's take a look at our dialogue slide. So in this exercise, we are going to once again pair up and read this conversation out loud, as we are going to practice our verbal skills and also learn how to talk about dealing with culture shock as well. So guys, make sure to pay attention to these sentences highlighted in black, as they are not only important and relevant to this topic, but will also be a good addition to your understanding of grammar. Alright, so let's go ahead and read this out loud then. Ute, you will start as, why don't you be Jane and I will be Jessica.
Okay.
Alright. Hey Jane, you look nervous. Are you ready for studying abroad?
No, I'm not. I've prepared everything I need, but I'm worried I won't be able to adapt to the culture. Do you have any tip for me?
Well, you should make sure you take care of yourself and try to keep an open mind.
I have done a lot of research about the local customs, but everything seems so different.
Just remember to breathe and try to form connection with the locals. They'll be able to help you if you have any problems.
Okay, anything else?
The most important thing is to be respectful.
You have been such a big help. Thanks.
Alright, so well done, thank you. Let's now switch roles and read the second half of the dialogue as well.
Hey,
Alright,
hey,
so you'll be...
okay. Hey, Jen, you look nervous. Are you ready to study abroad?
No, I'm not. I've prepared everything I need, but I'm worried I won't be able to adapt to the culture. Do you have any tips for me?
Well, you should make sure you take care of yourself and try to keep an open mind.
I've done a lot of research about the local customs, but everything seems so different.
Just remember to breathe and try to form connections with the locals. They'll be able to help if you have any problems.
Okay, anything else?
The most important thing is to be respectful.
You've been such a big help. Thanks. Alright, so good job. As you can see, this was just another exercise for us to practice our verbal skills a little bit more and learn how to talk about dealing with culture shock. Let's now continue and let's take a look at our vocabulary for today. So let me read these words to you first so you can hear how to pronounce them correctly, and then you will read them as well. So, study, culture, push, custom, country, sure, understand, woman. Alright, so let's start with you then. Please read these words.
Study, culture, post, custom, country, sure, understand, woman.
Alright, thank you. Well done. So, if you have any questions about the meaning of these words or anything like that, please let me know. Or you can also find translation in the chat box.
Teacher,
Yes.
I cannot see the difference between that. I cannot see the difference of all. How to use the pronunciation correctly?
Okay, so I'm sorry, what pronunciation of which words?
Yeah.
Country, culture,
Mm-hmm.
which ones?
Uh-huh.
Let's try to read them one more time then. Study,
Study,
culture,
culture,
push,
push,
custom,
custom,
country,
country,
sure,
sure,
understand,
understand,
woman.
woman.
Okay, there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Thank you.
Alright, so let's now practice these words just a little bit more by making some sentences using them as well. Alright, so you would please pick any word that you like and make a sentence. And we'll make maybe like 4 or 5 sentences each.
Uh, would you mind repeating it? I don't understand what you said. I should understand.
Okay?
Would you mind repeating it? I don't understand what you said.
Alright, perfect. Let's now pick another word.
The student study. The student study in university.
Okay. Maybe you say it's a good experience to study in a university.
Yeah.
And let's pick another word.
Oh, I see the different culture between our country and Vietnam. I can see how the difference between our country and Vietnam.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. And let's make one more.
One more. My country is Thailand. Is the most beautiful place.
Alright, sounds good.
Mhm.
Thank you. Alright, so let's now continue. And let's take a look at the difference between our sounds for today. So, as you can see, the words have been divided into 2 groups. First one is focusing on the sound oo, so
Oo.
push, sure, woman. And second one is focusing on the sound ah, a more regular and a well-known vowel sound. Alright. And I want to provide you with a link here
Yeah.
so you can check it out and learn how to pronounce this letter U. Letter U, as you can see, can make 2 of these sounds. So with the sound oo and ah, as well as the letter O and combinations of letters O and U sometimes may also make this sound. Unfortunately, we don't have any set guidelines or rules to help us understand and learn when specifically what letter is going to make what sound. So for that particular reason, we have to memorize the correct pronunciation of the words right away. Alright, so guys, when you study new words, make sure to practice the pronunciation so that you'll never have to worry about it in the future. Alright? So let's now continue and let's take a look at our conversation slide for today. So in this exercise we will pair up once more, and as a student, you will give me some tips as how to deal with the culture shock and basically how to prepare for studying abroad. And I will be going to studying abroad next year, so I need some recommendations from you.
Mm-hmm.
So we will talk about all of these scenarios here, since we have some time left here to cover in the class. And also we will, just talk about whatever comes to mind as well. So make sure to check out the suggestions on the right side, top right side. They come directly from our dialogue slide, so feel free to use them. So let's go ahead and start. So Yut, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm doing really well myself. Thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you know that I will be traveling abroad next year to study, and I wanted to ask for your advice and for your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly can I do in order to prepare for studying abroad, to be successful, how I can overcome the culture shock, and can you also please share some of your experiences with the studying abroad and the culture shock as well?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Which country you will study abroad?
Well, I have a couple of options that I would like to
Mm-hmm.
try and check out. So first one is Switzerland, and second one is
Switzerland.
Canada.
Canada, yeah. Okay. Well, which is the most you like country to studying abroad? I think you choose only one country for your studying abroad.
Okay, if I have to choose just one, then
Yeah.
maybe I will try to choose Canada.
Canada, yes, I think Canada is the well-known university, and Canada have diverse place attraction and a beautiful place in Canada. I think so. So I think before you go into studying abroad, I would like to tell you that please you can research about the detail about the information of Canada. First of all, about culture, about way of life of people, about living in Canada. Yeah. First of all, you choose find out about the information of Canada before you go abroad, and you have got involved with the local community, right? Join a sport team or went to a major festival. You have to attend the activity in Canada. It make you more confident for learning about Canada culture. And you can share with your friend, get along with them and share about the culture and the way of life of people in Canada. Yeah. I think so.
Okay, I see. And what are some dangers of studying abroad, and how can I protect myself?
Uh, I think sometime in Canada there are a lot of dangerous. So you have to uh, read about the dangerous of Canada. You have to research about living in Canada. You have to learn about something dangerous for living there.
Okay, I see. Sounds good. And I will definitely try to research as much as possible and find out
Yeah.
all the information that I can on studying abroad and on what I need to prepare. I'll get ready to work with all the documents and everything, and of course, we'll also make sure to find some local connections, make some local friends, talk to my school, and talk to, talk to everybody who I will be dealing with during this process, and maybe consider some other schools and other universities and countries to go to as well.
And the last one, I think you should make sure you take care of yourself and try to keep an open mind and get along, make friends with local people.
Yes. And how can I make some friends, some local friends if I don't,
You choose
if I'm not located there, yeah?
you choose decide to attend the activity in your university. You have to choose attend the activity like club or community club.
Okay, I see. Sounds good. Thank you for your tips and recommendations. I'm going to try and follow your recommendations, and hopefully it will help me succeed and, help me also make more friends and help me also, um, you know, get great experience and
Yeah.
find a successful career path for myself.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right, so thank you so much for your tips and recommendations. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, so well done. Let's now continue. And first of all, we will take a look at our assessment form. And you did really well today with pronunciation and grammar. I do want to remind you of a few things. First of all, for the pronunciation, please don't forget about the ending sounds, more specifically these ones right here. Please pronounce them clearly in the end of your words, as they are important not only for your pronunciation, but also for the grammar as well. So they're important grammar indicators. For the grammar, please don't forget about the tenses and the verbal forms associated with those tenses. Make sure to review the use of common prepositions, how to use them correctly with your verbs and nouns. And of course, always focus on the sentence structure so that you build your sentences correctly with the correct types of words. Alright, but overall you did quite well today, so great job and keep up the good work. So finally, let's check out our homework. And first of all, please make sure to not forget about pronunciation and vocabulary that we discussed today. Make sure to check out the homework and also look for additional related lessons in the course browser, and take them, guys, when you have some free time and when you want to improve your skills even more. If this option is already available to you guys, please also don't forget to rate our class today as well. And finally, I would like to provide you with a few additional links and resources for you to check out and study outside of our regular classes here, outside of Topica, and also just make sure to check them out, as each one is a great free resource to help you guys study and improve your skills, specifically in the areas of grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. So by studying and working on improving each one of these areas, you will eventually be able to master the language. So guys, that's it for today. I know we're finishing just a couple of minutes short, so Youth, if you got any questions for me, please go ahead and ask them now.
And I don't have any questions. Thank you very much, teacher.
Okay, sounds good. So in that case, thank you very much for joining our lesson today. I hope you enjoyed the subject and learned something new. I definitely hope to see you guys again in the future in other classes as well. Next time, hopefully with more active students here for you to meet and join this class with. So please have a good night. Make sure to get some rest, and we hope to see you next time.
See you. Thank you.
Alright, so thank you, and bye-bye.
Hello class, and welcome to our English lesson series. My name is Kira. I will be moving soon to Canada in order to study. The people there have different culture and pastimes, and I will need to adapt to fit in. So in today's lesson, we will be dealing with a culture shock. I hope you enjoy it. Let's watch the video.
It's only 2 weeks until you move to another country. I'm going to miss you so much.
I'll miss you too.
Although, I'm worried you'll experience culture shock. It's going to be difficult.
Culture shock. I've heard of it before, but I don't think it's going to be hard for me, since America isn't too different from my country. And I'm so excited for moving there.
Well, actually, That's the honeymoon stage. Everything is exciting and new at first. You might begin to think of this new culture as an ideal, in that all the people are very nice.
You seem experienced in this. You lived in Japan for 5 years before moving back to this country, right?
Well, 6, actually.
Okay, I'm listening.
Well, after this, you'll find that all the little problems and frustrations appear much bigger, and you might begin to think that everyone is trying to rob you or cheat you.
Let me guess. I will also feel confused and lonely, right?
That's right. So if you meet someone from your home country, you might become dependent on them. You'll complain about this new culture, and you'll begin to miss your home country and home culture a lot.
I see. So this stage is the hardest one. If I can overcome the shock, I will try and adjust myself to the new culture. Or I will try and go home.
But if you are an adaptable and flexible person, you won't suffer from culture shock too much.
I understand. Thanks so much for telling me this. And try not to worry too much. I can take care of myself.
That's good to hear.
Hello class and welcome to our English lesson series. My name is Kira. I will be moving soon to Canada in order to study. The people there have different culture and pastimes, and I will need to adapt to fit in. So in today's lesson, we will be dealing with a culture shock. I hope you enjoy it. Let's watch the video.
It's only 2 weeks until you move to another country. I'm going to miss you so much.
I'll miss you too.
Although, I'm worried you'll experience culture shock. It's going to be difficult.
Culture shock. I've heard of it before, but I don't think it's going to be hard for me, since America isn't too different from my country. And I'm so excited for moving there.
Well, actually, that's the honeymoon stage. Everything is exciting and new at first. You might begin to think of this new culture as an ideal, in that all the people are very nice.
You seem experienced in this. You lived in Japan for 5 years before moving back to this country, right?
Well, 6, actually.
Okay, I'm listening.
Well, after this, you'll find that all the little problems and frustrations appear much bigger, and you might begin to think that everyone is trying to rob you or cheat you.
Let me guess. I will also feel confused and lonely, right?
That's right. So if you meet someone from your home country, you might become dependent on them. You'll complain about this new culture, and you'll begin to miss your home country and home culture a lot.
I see. So this stage is the hardest one. If I can overcome the shock, I will try and adjust myself to the new culture. Or I will try and go home.
But if you are an adaptable and flexible person, you won't suffer from culture shock too much.
I understand. Thanks so much for telling me this. And try not to worry too much. I can take care of myself.
That's good to hear.
Now, in this part, we will learn some common words that are often used when we talk about dealing with culture shock. Culture shock. Culture shock. A feeling of confusion and anxiety that somebody may feel when they live in or visit another country. For example, he had never left his village before, so arriving in the capital, Hanoi, was a big culture shock. Honeymoon. Honeymoon. The period of time at the start of a new activity when nobody is criticized and people feel enthusiastic. For example, the honeymoon period for the new job is over. Frustration. Frustration. The feeling of being annoyed and impatient because you cannot do or achieve what you want. For example, every job has its difficulties and frustrations. Dependent. Dependent. Needing somebody or something in order to survive or be successful. For example, you can't be dependent on your parents all your life. Overcome. Overcome. To succeed in dealing with or controlling a problem that has been preventing you from achieving something. For example, he managed to overcome his fear of spiders. Adjust. Adjust. To get used to a new situation by changing the way you behave or think. For example, you'll quickly adjust yourself to student life. Adaptable. Adaptable. Able to change or be changed in order to deal successfully with new situations. For example, you should be adaptable to the new working environment. Flexible. Flexible. Able to change to suit new conditions or situations. For example, flexible working hours. Okay, class, in this part we will learn some common sentences that are often used when we talk about dealing with culture shock. I'm worried you will experience culture shock. I'm worried you will experience culture shock. That's the honeymoon stage. Everything is exciting and new at first. That's the honeymoon stage. Everything is exciting and new at first. After this, you will find that all the little problems and frustrations appear much bigger. After this, you will find that all the little problems and frustrations appear much bigger. If you need someone from your country, you might become dependent on them. If you need someone from your country, you might become dependent on them. If I can overcome the shock, I will try to adjust myself to the new culture, or I will try to go home. If I can overcome the shock, I will try to adjust myself to the new culture, or I will try to go home. If you are an adaptable and flexible person, you won't suffer from culture shock too much. If you are an adaptable and flexible person, you won't suffer from culture shock too much.
It's only 2 weeks until you move to another country. I'm going to miss you so much.
I'll miss you too.
Although, I'm worried you'll experience culture shock. It's going to be difficult.
Culture shock. I've heard of it before, but I don't think it's going to be hard for me, since America isn't too different from my country. And I'm so excited for moving there. Now, let me ask you some questions. Is the woman moving to another country next week? No, she is moving to another country in the next 2 weeks. What is the country the woman's moving to? She is moving to America.
Well, actually, that's the honeymoon stage. Everything is exciting and new at first. You might begin to think of this new culture as an ideal, in that all the people are very nice.
You seem experienced in this. You lived in Japan for 5 years before moving back to this country, right?
Well, 6, actually.
Okay, I'm listening.
Well, after this, you'll find that all the little problems and frustrations appear much bigger, and you might begin to think that everyone is trying to rob you or cheat you.
What is the first stage of culture shock? It's the honeymoon stage. Did the man live in Japan before? Yes, he did. Let me guess. I will also feel confused and lonely, right?
That's right. So, if you meet someone from your home country, you might become dependent on them. You'll complain about this new culture, and you'll begin to miss your home country and home culture a lot.
I see. So this stage is the hardest one. If I can overcome the shock, I will try and adjust myself to the new culture. Or I will try and go home.
But if you are an adaptable and flexible person, you won't suffer from culture shock too much.
I understand. Thanks so much for telling me this, and try not to worry too much. I can take care of myself.
That's good to hear.
According to the man, will the woman depend on someone who is from the same country as her? Yes, she will. What kind of person won't suffer from culture shock seriously? An adaptable and flexible person. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you had a wonderful time learning with us today, and I'll see you at the next lesson.
This is a short vowel sound. It's pronounced U. Now you try. Repeat after me. U. U. Now here are some words which have this sound. Foot, put, good. Now you try. Listen carefully and repeat after me. Foot, put, good. That's good. This is a short vowel sound. It's pronounced ah. Now you try. Repeat after me. Ah. Ah. Now here are some words which have this sound. Strut, mud, love, blood. Now you try. Listen carefully and repeat after me. Strut, mud, love, blood. Good.
Good. Done. Look. Look. Book. 1.
You will listen to a conversation between two people. The conversation is divided into 3 small parts. You will be asked to answer some questions in each part. Do you know what culture shock is? I heard about it, but I don't really know what it means.
Well, culture shock is when you go to a different country. Your daily routine, culture, and a lot of other things around you are no longer familiar. You find everything so strange and hard to adapt to. That's culture shock.
Oh, I see. So, have you ever experienced culture shock?
No, I haven't, because I always prepare carefully before I go to a different country. Also, I try to make friends with the local people to understand more about the country.
But you must know their language to make friends with them, right?
If they don't speak English, yes, they will appreciate your effort to communicate with them in their language, even if it's just a few simple phrases.
Wow, great advice. Thank you for that.